Hello, my name is Max Shoemaker. This is my final project called Steam Trends, and I am using the Steamworks API. You might be asking, what is Steam Trends? It is the tool that analyzes Steam player activity trends using the Steamworks web API. It tracks concurrent player counts, which can display genre trends and spikes in players playing a certain game at certain times, and it uses JFree chart and JavaFX for interactive data visualization. It collects real-time player data from Steam's API. It then parses and stores data into a AWS RDS database, and then it visualizes trends using JFree chart for graphs and JavaFX for dashboards. The languages I chose to use was Java, JDK 20.0.2, which was the main programming language. I use SQL, MySQL database for all my storage and queries. And then I also use these tools and frameworks. I use Apache Maven 3.9.9 for dependency management. I use Visual Studio Code for my development platform. I use Figma as my UI design. I use JFree chart as data visualization framework. I use JavaFX for interactive dashboard creation, and AWS RDS for cloud-based database for storing collected data. Project implementation. The implementation for this project maintained the same with a home, trending, and comparing tab. I did remove the functionality for a settings tab and favorites since it wasn't really needed, as not many adjustments were needed on the web page itself than on the options already represented on the page. So on the right hand side is my Figma design, which I chose as a just an idea. I wanted to have a home, live trends, insights, settings, and favorites. This is only local. If I were to bring it to an actual hosted website, then maybe I would have added the favorites and stuff, but there was not a need for that. I ended up going with home, trending, and comparing, which as the main functions that I needed. Going into it, I had a lot of data that went. I had over 157,000 IDs for data. And I collected this every 10 minutes, and I collected it over the course of the whole month of March. This was for over 53 games, if I remember correctly, and there was a lot of data that went into it. The front end was my homepage. I organized it by number, game title, current players, peak players, hours played, and player trend. It would display each of the different games in order, and it would show the current players, the peak players for that certain game, and the hours played accumulated for every single player that was playing. And then it would show this little chart. It would move up and down. Just in this photo, it didn't show it, but I'll show you an actual representation. The front end trending page shows all the trending games right this second. This would show every single game that was currently there. I don't have the photo there, but there was over 53 games, so instead of just the top 10, it would show all 53 games that I have in my database. I believe, yeah, as I was doing this, repo came out, so this one there used to be another game here, I forgot what it was, but it knocked it out, so it became number 6 while I was doing this, so it was pretty cool to see a game get released and then see the difference in that. And then the final one would be compare page. I had different buttons for adding new games. It originally started with game 1 and game 2, and then you would press this little add game button to add in more, maximum 5, and then you could then see the differences of like the player spikes. It would show the time frame, it would show the amount of players, and then you could also take them off of there and change the time frame that you would like to see it at. Findings and results. It seems that most of the player bases started at 10 and then ended mid-afternoon, or like those were the biggest spikes for most games, which I would assume because people are about to go to work then or about to go to school. But that was for all of March. They didn't have spring break at that time, so this was actually a good, like, in the middle of the school day and everything too. So that's pretty cool to see. And another example would be Rust. It's the fifth highest player game on Steam, and it was always 2 o'clock. 1 to 3 time frame was the highest player count for that game specifically. The technical challenges that I had would be API rate limits. I implemented request optimization in order to fix that. Database synchronization issues. I could not synchronize everything, so I actually had to restart my whole data collection process, which I was April, March. Yeah, I was collecting data in April, all of April, and then it went away because it didn't collect it correctly. So I had to actually redo all of it again, which was super annoying, but I was able to come back from it and remake it and optimize it better. The graph not updating dynamically, I just had to data refresh every single time I did it. It was a little annoying, but I ended up fixing it. And one thing I would want to do in the future is put it fully on AWS instead of running it on my computer, because I had to keep my computer on the whole entire time, and then I can use RDS to fully host the AWS or the AWS storage. For my certain circumstances, I could only do 53 games because the free limited tier only has a certain amount of storage, so it prevented me from adding in more games. But that's one thing I would want to do, is put more than 53 games and then do as many games as possible. Successes and disappointments. My biggest success, honestly, would be the comparisons tab, because you can change whatever game we have here. You can add in whatever, and then you could see the differences with that. I thought that was pretty cool to see, like, lower tiered games that weren't having many players going up to the high rollers that have the most amount of players, but they still had like higher player counts in different times than it, which was pretty cool. So like, for instance, Counter-Strike, #1 on Steam, going against Marvel Rivals, which is usually on console. You usually play it there. You can see that it's still having, Marvel Rivals is still having a steady player base, while Counter-Strike is dipping, like goes into the millions, then to the 500,000s. Like, it's just like constant, going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. But Marvel Rivals is very steady, which is pretty cool. And then you can also, like I said, add in more games if you want to see them next to each other. What I would do differently is completely rely on RDS and EC2, like I was saying. Then I would use it as a server. I wish I did the settings page. I wish I did a favorites page. And then the error page, I never actually implemented into it because there wasn't really that many errors. If there was an error, it would have a pop-up message that would show up instead of taking you to a messed up page. And I'd rather host it online rather than locally. Like I said, just the server. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I have a GitHub link for my Steam trends. I can also show you boink. Boink. This is all of my data that I had. So it ended up coming out to be 158,786 different IDs for all the players that I collected, which was crazy. And then let me get my Visual Studio. All right. So I haven't run it in a minute, so like this little graph isn't showing up right this second. There we go. Still loading everything. All right. But yeah, so you can go through the different games. You can see the different player counts. So right here, you can go to 10 a.m. There was a 1 million. Down here, 10 p.m. It starts going down. So a.m. seems better, but the p.m. part seems like when it plummets. You can change to the hour. I haven't gotten any data recently, so these ones wouldn't work. The month would work because this was last month, so it would be still working at this point. But yeah, you can go to trending. You can see all the different games I did it for. You can do Outer Wilds, 1 month, and then you can see the different players. So like this one's way different. Like you can see this is 167 at 2 o'clock, but then at 4 a.m. it seems like that was their least amount of players. This was also 4 a.m., 4 a.m., around 4 a.m. But you see that there's like a trend of like they always get off at that time, which is crazy. It's also really cool. But then let's go to compare. compare. We can add in any of these games, compare, and then it will put it side by side, and it will show you everything. And you can see, like, right here, their peak was 29K, and theirs at the, like, around the same time was around 45K. So 6 for that, or around 4 p.m. for them, and then 1 p.m. for them for some reason. Well, this is like 6 a.m. So they're more morning. Maybe because it's England. England is more, because this is an EST, maybe they play more in England since more people like Harry Potter in England or London. Anyways, but yeah, you can add in more games. So if I wanted to add in more games to see what it would look like, let's do this. To show all of them. Kind of looks scary, so you can like tick off some of the games if you want to. For right this second, I'll get rid of Marvel Rivals and Apex Legends. Now you can see like the different trends of like how these games would work. Let's actually do this. I'll put some games together. So let's do like Pal World, and we'll do No Man's Sky. Let's do that. These are relatively the same game, like same idea of a game premise. So it seems like if you were to release a game for this type of genre, it seems like the best time to do it would be 11. Like mid-afternoon. So 10 to 12 would be the best time for this. Or actually like 10 to 2. 10 to 2. That time frame, that 4-hour time frame would seem to be the best for this genre of video game. So if you would ever want to release a game at that point, you should do it at that time. But yeah. Finally, I'll just show you my code. This is my code. I have an app config file. I got the application file, the game file to show all the different games, then the hours played. There's a game controller that has all the API tabs. There's game history. This is collecting all of the data from the database. This is the repository. This is the game repository, and then this is the Steam data fetcher. This is how it's going to get all of the data from Steam. Don't look at my Steam key. Anyways, this is going to be my compare HTML. This is also my JS file for my compare. This is game. This is game.js. I really liked doing the front end part. I thought that was the most fun. I really like the creativity part. This is my script.js. This is my styles. This is my trending. And this is my trending.js. And my application properties. All right. But yeah. Like I was saying, I really appreciate you guys watching my project. I thought it was really fun. I'm really happy to learn everything that I did. I actually was able to talk to lots of my friends at work about it and actually seem knowledgeable on the topic and actually be able to go out and say, hey, I know these skills for this. Anyways, thank you so much, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.